Welcome back, Astro listeners, to Star Lady Soul Reader Network. This is Media Monk, and as always, I'm joined by shining star of our zodiac. It's Star Lady. Hi, Star Lady.
Hello, Media Monk.
All right. Most of us know that Star Lady is Kim Marie, the managing director for our network. We continue to certify new astrologers, and we got a lot of stuff on our website for your next level of soul growth. Just go to www.evolutionaryastrology.net. There's some little menu bar there right on that homepage where you can go to forecasts and maybe book a session with Kim Marie. You can look at the EA course. Lots of other stuff under educational webinars, forecasting webinars. Always call 605-348-5111 to book your session personally with Kim Marie, or perhaps ask questions about the EA course to Media Monk. So I also wanted to point out that our Constant Contact newsletter client, where we send out all of our newsletters from, their payment module is having a little problem here. It's a Mercury retrograde event, so I just wanted to let you know that we will have our Astro News going out with a very secure way to get your enrollment for the 2024 annual forecast coming up January 3rd. And in the upcoming newsletter, get your enrollment, and your registration link will be in the confirmation email to join us January 3rd, 6 to 8 p.m. Mountain Time.
Let me just say Mercury retrograde. In the newsletter, advertising the 2024 forecast, there are multiple ways to enroll and participate, multiple ways to pay and enroll. So, Media Monk, I'm going to share our pre-call laugh, okay?
All right. I know.
So I do my pre-prep work, and then we both get on the phone. We record these over a phone system. We don't have the budgets of the big Spotify podcast. And so I'm waiting for Media Monk, and I do what I usually do. I turn my volume on my headset way down because I've been listening to the same elevator music for like 15 years now. And Media Monk comes on the phone. He hears me say, okay, just a minute, I'm going to turn my volume up. And he's in Mercury retrograde. I told you, you don't have to adjust your volume. After our podcast, I go through filtering, I don't know, apps or whatever, and I adjust the volume, and I try to take out, crackly noises and blah, blah, blah. And he's just going off on me, and finally I say, okay, Media Monk, may I speak? And I say, the reason I turned that volume down is because I'm really tired of the elevator music. I listen to it waiting for clients every week. And we had a big Mercury retrograde aha moment.
Awesome.
It's funny to you, but it was a pretty nice, sweet aha for us on the full moon of Cancer, Mercury retrograde, and all kinds of family stuff going on. So it was nice to laugh between us. You're welcome, Media Monk. We get about 3 Mercury retrogrades a year, once in a while 4, and they never fail to surprise us. Sometimes entertain us, sometimes piss us off. That was Star Lady, so I'm not going to go into details. And, just kind of create a little chaos in our world that we just have to smooth our way through. But every once in a while, Mercury retrograde will give us a good laugh, and I'm just grateful for that with Media Monk here. Mercury went retrograde December 13th at about 8 degrees Capricorn. It goes direct January 1st at 22 degrees Sagittarius. The interior conjunction was right on that winter solstice, December 22nd, at about 0.5 Capricorn. And by the way, the Capricorn Mantra, I achieve my goals with emotional self-reliance. I achieve my goals, Capricorn, with emotional self-reliance, Cancer. Very fitting mantra, not only for the Capricorn solar ingress, but also for the full moon of Cancer. We are recording it on the day of the full moon, which is December 26th, after Christmas. It's going to be about 5:33 p.m. In our mountain time zone, and we are not going to see that full moon because we are in midst of a northern plains blizzard. I'm grateful for the snow, and I guess I'm also grateful that we're snug as a bug in a rug here at home because we got, a little bit of a whiteout blizzard going on with blowing snow and 60-mile-an-hour wind gusts taking place outdoors. So, like I said, grateful to be indoors. So, we have a very active last week of December, last week of 2023. Again, this full moon on December 26th takes place at 5 degrees, Sun Capricorn, Moon Cancer. I have said for years and years and years, when the full moon of Cancer falls after Christmas, it can sometimes be an emotional letdown, or in this case, building up to that full moon right around Christmas, perhaps some emotional tensions that were just building up and came up and out in various ways as we all feel our moon in Cancer, emotional sensitivities, emotional insecurities, Mercury retrograde, emotional frustrations. So this is a full moon, especially coming after Christmas holiday, if it's something you celebrate. Not so much a big thing for me personally, but it is for my family, and it is for Media Monk's family, and we have 2 elderly mothers, so we still participate in all the holiday hoo-ha. I'm more interested in that winter solstice and the return of the sun. However, this full moon in Cancer, which is going to have another December 27th. It's not going to go into Leo until the 28th sometime. Is this emotional full moon, it is important for us to really go inward and deepen that emotional inner security. Whatever we don't like going on in that outer Capricorn world, some of that physical reality we can change and some we cannot change. The old serenity prayer, if you're familiar with it. And so making peace with what we cannot change means going inward and finding our deepest levels of inner security again, no matter what's going on in the reality of our world. This full moon is a wide T-square with Neptune direct December 6th at about 25 Pisces. Neptune is just starting to move. And as we experience this full moon, that Neptune T-square may create some confusions in our world, with our families, with various even work situations, Capricorn, with our material world. But in addition to that, the same day as this full moon, later on this evening as we record it, December 26th, Chiron goes direct at 15.5 degrees Aries. Chiron is finishing up a 5-month retrograde cycle that started back late July 23, at 20 degrees Aries. And so this Chiron direct on the same day as the full moon of Cancer, we either are healing a new level, a new layer, a new understanding of where we feel hurt or wounded, or Chiron in Aries pissed off, or we can be feeling a real sense of finding ourselves, and this is who I am, and I'm not perfect, but I'm doing the best that I can. And here is my Chiron direct and Aries energy to take care of me, myself, and I. And how do I balance it with others? And so Chiron is the centaur between Saturn and Uranus' orbits that we call the wounded healer, where we find our wounding and we heal it so that we can share what we've learned as a healer with others. We share the Chironic gifts. And so it mixes in with this full moon and stirs the pot some more. If some of the family interactions didn't go quite so good, maybe it gives us some aha understandings. Maybe there's some healthy boundaries that need to be held with family members that could come to a head over the full moon. All kinds of things. However, the next day, December 27th, Mercury makes the second of 3 last quarter squares to Neptune in Pisces. Mercury retrograde hanging out at 25 Sag. Again, Neptune direct at 25 Pisces. Then we have Mercury retrograde go backwards over Mars in Sag at 24.5 Sagittarius. They're having their second of 3 conjunctions over 3 months with this Mercury retrograde. 12 degrees Scorpio, the end of October. This one again taking place at 22.5 degrees Sagittarius. And then, did I mark the next one? Hold on, I've got it for you, just a second. And the third Mercury-Mars conjunction, January 27th at 17 Capricorn. And so the only time that Mercury and Venus can make 3 conjunctions to Mars is when they are all moving together in the same space as a zodiac. Mars is a 2-year cycle. 1 year Mars travels with the inner planets. The next year Mars opposes the inner planets and has its retrograde cycle. There's only one opposition, then very rarely I might be able to happen with Mercury, but I don't ever see it with Venus opposing Mars when Mars is retrograde. One opposition. But Venus and Mercury can make 3 conjunctions to Mars. And as I said in the Mercury Retrograde free podcast, which, by the way, is on our YouTube channel, Evolutionary Astronet, this is 3 chances to really walk our talk, really get our actions and desires figured out with Mercury and decide how we really want to put our best foot forward. However, as I was saying, December 27th, Mercury retrograde goes over Mars second time, later Sag, and then Mercury and Mars, Mercury the second out of 3, Mars 1, last quarter square to Neptune. And this is again, Mars gets to 25 Sag, Neptune 25 Pisces. Last quarter squares, Mercury, Mars to Neptune. Last quarter squares, crises in consciousness, confusion around what we believe. Mercury retrograde is going to ask us to be throwing off old belief systems, to be throwing off old mental patterns, to be throwing off old beliefs on the deepest levels possible. Mars comes along into the mix and goes, my way or the highway, blah, 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 blah. I'm right, you're wrong. And it can lead to, again, a little bit of feistiness over this Mercury retrograde. So, breathe deep and ask the deepest layers of truth you can understand to be revealed to you in a direct and conscious way, Sagittarius. will help you through any sense of confusion or victimization or guilt or, whatever emotions are stirred up on this full moon while the moon is still in Cancer all the way through December 27th. It just so happens that the last week, as I was saying, there's 3 planets that are going to change direction and go direct. Get to them. But before that, Venus is going to go into Sagittarius December 29th through January 23rd. December 29th through January 23rd. Venus is starting to move a little slower, and it is now taking about a month almost to progress through a sign of the zodiac. We're finishing up Venus and Scorpio, and, that could be part of the intensity that went on for some people in the holidays. It can have, created intimate relationship endings, beginnings, and stirrings of the pot. If Venus in Scorpio, we find we are not on the same page with our values or our values around resources. Venus moving into Sagittarius then can be a moment of truth. It is in Sag with Mars and Mercury, those 3 inner planets, until Mars goes into Capricorn January 4th. So as we get through the New Year's weekend, which, many times if family was intense, can be a breath of fresh air. If we're missing family, it can be part of that, I want to repeat, I want to redo on the holidays. Well, you got to wait a year. But Venus in Sag is about speaking our truth, and how well can we understand truth? And can we listen to someone else speak their truth? We may not agree with them. The Venus rulership of Libra is the psychology of listening. And so Venus is about deep listening in relationships. And with Sag, if we get feisty, we can do as Venus in Gemini does. I'm not listening. I'm only waiting for you to take a breath so I can argue my way back. Mercury retrograde in Sag until it's direct, January 1st at 22 degrees. And you listen over this New Year's Eve weekend that we have coming up. In the midst of that, with Venus going into Sag, Chiron going direct December 26th, Jupiter, the ruler of Sagittarius, goes direct December 30th at 5.5 Taurus. It started its 4-month retrograde cycle the beginning of September 4th, at 15.5 Taurus. And I don't know if you can remember all the way back to last spring, but I can't remember if it was May or April. Maybe it had to be April. Mercury went retrograde from 15 to 5 degrees Taurus. The same retrograde degrees that Jupiter has been doing from 15 to 5 degrees Taurus. The end of the year. Now we have Mercury retrograde again in a different sign. And so there's a lot of information being stirred up. Mercury retrograde. The Jupiter direct. There's a lot of aha energy coming forth. There's a lot of aha moments taking place. Expansion of our beliefs or things we have been pondering. We could have some major intuitive hits. Oh, that's what was going on. And the fact that Jupiter is going direct in early Taurus, some of those intuitive hits and ahas can be around our values with material resources, with what's really important in our physical world. You know, we have a mutual reception going on. Venus is traveling through Jupiter, or through Sagittarius, Jupiter's sign, and Jupiter is traveling through Taurus, Venus sign. And so there's an alignment there where they can really have clarity and aha and intuitive hits big time about our values on the deepest levels, especially with resources, who we trust, who we don't trust, those direct and honest conversations that we need with people. And then to have Mercury go stationary direct 2 days later, January 1st at 22 degrees Sag, Chiron direct, Jupiter direct, Mercury direct, all in the last week of the year. Show me the truth, show me the truth, show me the truth can be one of those mantras for Sagittarius. So how is it playing out for you? What are the big ahas that you are recognizing in your world, in your relationships with others? How you want to interact in relationships on the highest and best levels with deep value and meaning. Oh, and then when Mars goes into Capricorn January 4th through February 13th, January 4th through February 13th, it's kind of like the okay, party's over, here's the hangover, here's the reality check, here's where we have to put our feet on the ground, go back to work, the holidays are done. How do I want to put my best foot forward? Mars in Capricorn. Where do I want to apply that timeless and yet limited resource that we actually physically call time? We only have so many hours in a day, and only so many things we can do in a day. Mars in Capricorn is going to want to prioritize it so that we can focus, and so that, that old phrase, work smarter, not harder? That's Mars in Capricorn. And Mercury direct, right after that, on January 8th, is going to make its third and final last quarter square to Neptune, 25 Sag Pisces. Again, Mercury never gets out of orb to its last quarter square with Neptune in the last week of 23 and the first week of 24. And that's why show me the truth can work so well. I haven't said this for a while. And the mantras I created for Neptune in Pisces and Pisces in general, that are both question marks. What would you have me know, Source? What would you have me do, Source? Parentheses, Mars and Capricorn. This can be some big ahas with this Mercury direct. Make the most of them. Make the most of healing yourself as best as you can. January 6th, Sun in Capricorn, 15.5 degrees, is going to make a last quarter square to Chiron, freshly direct, at 15.5 Aries. How do I heal me? Even though it's a last quarter square, crises in consciousness, the fact that Chiron's direct, there's an energy to our New Year's goals if you choose to put those types of things into play. Let Mars in Capricorn help you choose realistic goals. Let Sun last quarter square Chiron help you initiate those goals. And how do we break any goals down into baby steps that we can go 1, 2, 3, 1, 2, 3, so that we can be as successful as possible as Mercury goes stationary direct, and actually putting one foot in front of another and turning those goals into habits and what they call in the athletic world and dance world muscle memory. I spent 20 years as a belly dancer, and we would joke about the muscle memories, going over your solo routine every single day for 4 months, so you had the muscle memories, and if you made a mistake, you just got right back in it and carried on strong. That's kind of what this energy is like with Chiron, Jupiter, Mercury going direct, and having this New Year energy that we're in the midst of right now. All right. That's what I felt like rattling off in the moment. Media Monk, comments? Forgetting?
Well done. Well done. No, I don't think so. I was following along here on my transit sheet, and there was a lot to cover, and we did it in about 26 minutes. So that's always nice. It's kind of exhausting at the end of the year in some ways, but it's also always a chance for a new beginning. And I like your mantra, Neptune and Pisces mantra. Sometimes you have to ask those big questions like, what would you have me know, source? And then you have to be quiet and be ready for an answer. And it may not come right away. So,
and what would you have? And what would you have me do, source?
Source.
There's the Capricorn energy. There's the Mars in Capricorn, and we can ask and ask and ask until we can determine the right path of action. Mercury conjunct Mars 3 times.
Well, we'll talk about this
Go ahead.
a little bit more.
You're going to say what I'm going to say.
In the 2024 forecast, we're looking forward to January 3rd. We're right. We are on a big cusp of activity in the sky. So join us there and get your enrollment link. Multiple places in the upcoming Astro newsletter coming out to announce this podcast and opportunities to get a session, a New Year's session with Kim Marie, etc. So be on that Astro news list and join us for the 2024 annual. All right. We want to close?
Thank you, everyone. Thank you to all of the long-term podcast listeners out there, appreciating you being interested in my opinions of the planet and the world. And I wish all of you all the best in the new year. And not only create a great day, but create a great year for yourself in 2024, however you perceive it best to do. All right, everyone. See you on the new moon.
Bye-bye.